Hi everybody and welcome back to a new video. So today we are going to talk about laminate flooring installation. We are going to show you how we do it, how we install. I will give you a couple of tips. I'm going to show you a few transitions. We're going to talk about skirting installation, and we're going to talk about shoe molding installation, etc. Okay, so now let's start with the video. In here you see us installing the underlay. Is a 3 mm foam underlay. It is very important to read the instructions. They are coming with the flooring, so every pack of flooring that you will buy these days will have installations, will have all the instructions that you need to install on the actually box or inside the box. It's very important to check what doors you have, what windows you have, and check how the light is actually coming into the room, because you want to have the small joints in this particular case. We want to have the short side of the plank obviously to be pointed in those directions, because if you will have the other way around and you will have the long side of the plank in that direction, when the light will gonna come in through the room, you will see obviously all that joint, so they will be much more visible. Basically the light will amplify that. So this case we are putting the small side of the board, so the narrow side of the board facing the back door and the window. It's very important also to start your installation on one of the biggest walls or longest wall in the room, because that will make your life a lot more easier. Also very important, if you have wooden floorboards as a subfloor, you want your flooring to run opposite, so you don't want your flooring to be running parallel with the floorboards. If you have to do it in the same direction as the floorboards, I'll strongly recommend that you use a rigid insulation, or you have to put like a 4 or 6 mm ply on the actually floorboards prior to the installation. Also your subfloor will have to be very flat, so you shouldn't have more than 1 or maybe 2 mm differences per 1 meter. If you have more differences, obviously you can either do some self-leveling, or add some ply onto the floorboards, etc. Basically the thicker the floor is, the more room for this you will have. The thinner the floor is, uh, the flatter your floor will have to be. Okay, so going back to the flooring, this is a fold down system. Basically, from my point of view, I think this is one of the easiest flooring installation that you will ever come across. So if you can choose when you buying your flooring, always try to go for a fold down system, because it is the easiest way to install laminate flooring. Let's start with the flooring installation now. In this particular case, we have to start on the right hand side and going to the left. We like to leave around 10 mm space between the flooring and the walls or any obstacle, apart from obviously radiator pipes. Even there you have to leave some space, but I wouldn't leave 10 mm for a radiator pipe. But everywhere else I will leave 10 mm space, or plus minus obviously depending how the wall is going. I will leave around 10 mm, because it's either we're gonna have a piece of skirting or we're gonna have a piece of trim that will cover that distance, but we want to make sure that the flooring can move freely. Okay, so let me show you now how I'm dealing with the pipes. I am basically marking the center of the pipe. Obviously bear in mind that you will have 10 mm between the flooring and the skirting. So after we marked the center of the pipes, we're just going ahead and drill a 22 mm hole. So this pipe is a 15 mm copper pipe. We're just gonna go ahead and drill a 22 mm hole. In this case, the flooring will have space to move around and is not gonna go against the pipe. After we drill the holes, we're just gonna turn this plank on his back and try to cut this off as a triangle, as you can see now as a triangle. Obviously cut it on the back so it doesn't chip. Let me show you now how it looks. Yeah, so we just cut a small triangle from this plank. We're just gonna push it against the skirting as we need, and then we're gonna add this piece with glue, with super glue or miter fast, miter bond, or whatever you call it, and just glue it there after the flooring is complete. It is very important to start your installation in a straight line. As you can see, we placed the laser level on the flooring. We just want to make sure that the first row will be nice and straight. If you don't have a laser level, you can always use a straight edge, or you can use a streamline. But anything that you obviously you're gonna use, just make sure you're gonna do a straight line, because if you don't start in a straight line, your flooring won't go together very well. Okay, so after we made sure that the first row is nice and straight, we came with the second, and now we're gonna go with the third one, and we'll do the cuts at the end. We're gonna do them both at the same time. So the more cuts you do at once, so basically if you walk outside and do 2-3 cuts at once, it will save you time. So always is a good idea to do multiple cuts in one go. Let me show you how easy it is to install this laminate flooring in the fold down system. Basically you just click it on the long side, and you just hit the end, and that's it, it's done. You don't have to use the fist like you see here. My colleague was using the fist, but soon he realized that he can't do that all day, so he obviously went back to the rubber mallet or plastic mallet, whatever you have. We have one that has both heads, so one is plastic, one is rubber, so you can use for this type of application, any of them will do the job. When you get to the end and you have to do a cut, you don't have to use a tape measure. You just place your plank with the side that you know you're gonna need it, like that. Lift this distance that you need it, and then just make a mark, and that's it. Cut the plank and you're done. To cut the flooring, we're just gonna use this battery operated miter saw. It's because we have it, and it's obviously easy to use, and because we're gonna need it later on to do the biddings and some of the skirting. If you don't have one, you can use a jigsaw, but if you find yourself doing a lot of laminate flooring installation, I will definitely recommend to get a guillotine, because that will do the job much quicker, won't do any dust, and won't be very expensive to run, because using any power tools to cut obviously laminate flooring, you should know that that will kill the blade very quick. So probably you will do a job and then you'll have to buy a new blade. So bear this in mind. If you have to use it very frequent, then get a guillotine. Okay, so after we installed the first 3 rows of flooring, we're gonna take some of these floor packs and just place them on top, and this way we'll make sure that our flooring won't move or shift. Let me tell you a few things about the floor joints. So basically, when you are installing a wooden flooring or a laminate flooring, this has to look as natural as possible. So you definitely don't want to see any joint alignment like you having with the tiles. So make sure that obviously they not matching each other, or they not like very close to each other and stuff like that. Depending obviously what pieces you can use, because in this particular case we can only use like 40 centimeters or more. You just have to figure out a pattern so you don't have visible joints the same. So obviously, depending of how much flooring you will have some joints that are obviously matching other joints. The only way that you have to obviously think about this is just make sure that they are not next to each other. So there's at least 2 planks in between these joints, yeah. So not just one, at least 2. I will show you here what I mean. So you see these 2 joints, just make sure that they are not very close to each other, and also make sure you have at least 2 planks till your next joint. if possible, try to not have it in the same location. But obviously this is sometimes very difficult because you don't want to have a lot of waste. So basically what you try to do is whatever piece you finish at that end, the cut, you want to start with that from the beginning, so you don't want to obviously have any kind of like wastage. So as you can see, this is not the easiest installation that we ever did. The room is very full with furniture and stuff. So we did 5 rows. Now we're just gonna start moving things on this side, do another meter, and then move some more things and so on. This flooring underlay has this plastic foil on the side, and on the other side you will see it does have double-sided tape. So to install this, you just have to peel that and glue it there. Just make sure that the underlay doesn't overlap. To be fair, this wasn't the easiest video to make because we had a lot of furniture, we had to move things around, funny angles for the camera and so on. But I hope I did give you all the information that you need in order to install laminate flooring by yourself. Now bear with me, I will give you a few information about the skirting, about the beddings and some other transitions around the staircase. Okay, so now doing this molding to obviously cover the space between the flooring and the existing skirting. What I can suggest is, especially if you are not next to your miter saw, just measure up and cut 3-4 lengths at the time, and then come back and pin them down. So just don't do the journey to your miter saw for just one cut, because then you're gonna waste some time. I always do 3 or 4 cuts, come back, make sure they all fit. In case there is one that doesn't fit, obviously I will take it back down and retrim it with the next 2-3 cuts. I will say a few things about the skirtings now. Just to let you know, this is not gonna be about how to install skirting. I am planning to do a separate video about skirting installation and bedding installation, and how you have to cut and how you have to measure corners and stuff like that. This is a simple information on how to be effective, how to be fast. Basically, this skirting is being bought by the client. They all are 2.4 meters. They're smaller than the wall, so we will have to join them. So all I did is to cut 45 degrees on both ends of the skirting. I haven't used my tape measure, I haven't write anything down, I just cut them 45 because I know I will have to join them. So now I'm just going to put them against the wall, put some glue on the back, pin them onto the wall because I know I have a timber batten at the base of the wall, and then I'm just going to cut the shorter pieces and join them together. So this is what I'm talking about. So one length is going on this wall, the other length will go on the left hand wall, and they both cut at 45. We're just gonna join them nicely. You can see they are actually joining nicely, and one we're gonna have on the other end. So obviously they are cut at 45 on the other ends because we'll have to join them, and wherever I'm joining a skirting, I like to cut at 45 because this way I have more room for the glue to obviously keep that joint secure. So this will be joined obviously behind the bed, and the other ones, as you see, one will be under the radiator and the other one will be on the left hand corner. So all we have to do now is to pin them down, put the glue on the back, pin them down, and come up with the next pieces and join them. Okay, so this transition for the staircase, where obviously the laminate flooring is ending, we don't want to see the side of the flooring, so we're gonna use this threshold, and we're gonna create a transition. So these thresholds, you can cut them to suit a different application. One will be a transition like this, one will be in between two rooms if you want to have a threshold, and some other application. So we are going to use this threshold in this particular case to do this transition, so we don't see the edge of the flooring. So this threshold will have a plastic channel. You just have to secure that in place with some screws, and then you push this in and it should lock very well. You shouldn't put any glue just in case you might have to remove it, and I think it does leave a nice and flat finish. um, Obviously we cut it 45 here because we're going to have another piece on the other side, and I think this will be a very good transition. You can see it here. This is how it looks. That's the middle one goes into the channel, and the one on the right is very slim. I would say it's somewhere between 2 and 3 millimeters. There's a small gap there where it doesn't go all the way to the floor. It's because of the underlay, but after we finish we're just going to run a bit of silicone, same color silicone as the flooring. So it's very easy to use this threshold. You see it does come as a piece, and you have to cut it obviously the way that you need it. So they give you this small blade, and you just have to put that blade into the channel that you want to cut, either on the left or on the right, or even both if you want to use it as a threshold between two rooms with the same levels. So obviously cutting just one side does mean you will have a different level in the flooring. So then you just snap it as you see here, and all you have to do is to take some sandpaper, which is located on the same tool on the side, and do a couple of passes so you make sure that that is not sharp. And that's it. This is how your threshold looks like. In here you can see both pieces cut it at 45 and joined. I think is a very nice transition. I want to show you now how we're dealing with the radiator pipes, or with any pipe that obviously is coming from the floor, and we have to obviously cover what we cut around it. So we are using these pipe collars. They are from wood. They are pretty much the same color as the flooring. You can obviously get them in different shades and different colors. They might not be 100% exactly, but you just have to get something that is very close. Also in here I will show you this V-cut that we did in the beginning as well. This one will have to trim the back a little bit to be able to close it a bit more, but this is what it should look like when it's done. Should be very close. Once that you glue this in place, you won't see anything. Okay, so this is everything for today. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a comment if you have any questions, or if there's anything that you want to say. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video, and I will see you next time with another video. Thank you very much. Goodbye.